So the potential of CAW is going to be pretty much a huge takeover of a Twitter type of decentralized app. What this will mean generally is that decentralization is going to be a major topic for the future. Within a year, I would give it, and that would mean what will happen for content. It will become a decentralized open source technology for ownership over creating content. So the past few videos I've uploaded have been about art as open source and crypto and how it kind of underpins all of this. But the one thing to realise about CAW is the ability of recalling and tipping the creator of a CAW similar to a retweet as in the manifesto. And the major thing to really understand is that back in 2012, Facebook had changed its own ownership of any imagery you upload to Facebook is owned by Facebook. And so that's when you see all of the things you see is followed by Facebook on a blog post or something, or something on the news. So what this really becomes in terms of posting content, because now everybody has the camera and the device they use, they can literally do anything at the power of their fingertips. And it makes sense for people to be more in charge of their finances online, as with mobile banking and things like that. So the sheer growth of this is going to be astronomical. I kind of feel that Shiba was a test to what was happening, since it's from the same deployer. It makes sense that this was thought about probably at the time Shiba was first originated, from its first thought. And maybe that was to test the waters of how far things could spread across social media, and to make more of an understanding. So when CAW first dropped, there was over 18,000 on CoinMarketCap up until its launch, and from its launch it had a massive pump as its tweet had cooled out. Over the first few weeks, people had begun to realise that the uniqueness of this project and its manifesto was pretty clear in it becoming a decentralised messaging service. But the difference with it being able to use a crypto token. So I've been doing this research now since day 3 of CAW into what the future looks like decentralized. And with such an app as big as this, And already with over 18,000 NFT creating name tags, it's going to be the next biggest thing, really. And what this means for content is going to allow people much more control over their own work and what they produce online, and how to protect, it from getting stolen or reused elsewhere other than the verification of, for instance, a Twitter Blue. They are already using the PFP NFT pictures. So even though, having looked at the price tag of that for $114 a year, is actually far more expensive than just purchasing your .eth name or even a .phantom name extension. And I think what's happening is that these name tags or handles are going to become like everybody's own hub that they are in control of posting their authorized content from. And this is going to be, a really, really big thing that's going to take over without us realizing it's going to happen in a big way. And this will probably take up the next year of its unraveling as it goes. And I guess what CAW is testing is its ability of using a crypto token and having it work efficiently well enough for the mass. And this is going to be a test, I guess, of its success if it is to be swapped over somehow into Twitter. I mean, I don't know how it will be possible to do that, but obviously it would be possible, and if the people would want it, then there is no doubt it would be a huge thing to have, because we already see the integrations that Twitter are going through with NFTs and the way Elon Musk supports those new rollouts of having you the ability to connect your .eth through your MetaMask or Ledger, and just having more access, I guess. It allows for authenticity to be very clear in terms of safeguarding content, and ownership plays its part in open source. And so what's more safer for people is having this huge social network, decentralized, that nobody can really manipulate in terms of the FANG corporation, because it gives people the more power to vote on creating their content on their terms, instead of the FANG rolling out their terms and conditions, which people majority-wise have no control over. And I think this has been one of the biggest issues we have seen coming from IG, because I know there are some in the creative industries that think it's no longer usable for them. And so they are looking for other alternatives, and a lot of those alternatives are going to Twitter. But I think Twitter will have to do something about their content displays at the moment, but the majority seem to make it work for them. And this is what is beginning to happen, and the way that crypto Twitter built itself up over the long period of integrating crypto news, and the last bull run. I think what's going to happen is this is going to take a real different turn in the market sentiment of the long haul for the future. I think it will really change the way we earn our own income as well. And to always have some sort of backup money available to each person makes it much safer than having to deal with the bank and an overdraft and all those types of things in case of an emergency. And everybody should have access to funding like that. And in these times, it's very difficult to otherwise not have that available. And I think this is going to be something to really kind of make sure we have available if anything else should happen. But I think what makes crypto more secure is it's built for the people this time. It's not really built for the bigger institutions. And so I really kind of see the value of that changing the market sentiments over the next, if we are to have another bull run, which I think we might. And I can imagine it will last longer, and it would take a very different turn in terms of what was popular last time, and it will allow more innovation and cross-decentralization to kind of grow alongside crypto Twitter, and it'll be an interesting time. And all these things in consideration are already kind of happening at the moment. And having followed CAW is very clear that there are those that want a creative council of sorts. And I think that's what maybe towards the end of the year will be on the discussion for a lot of consideration. I can imagine it being similar to the way EU works, but in terms of content, so like people from different categories of media will all each have like a person in charge where they can go up to discuss and have, proposals or inputs and influence on, but in a more open-sourced environment. And this is what is the beauty of CAW, is that it allows that not just through recoring and coring, but tipping and having that, transparency available, so we know where things are going and what things are being used for. And this has been a major kind of flaw in what's happened in society today, as I've gone on through previous episodes. And I think CAW is kind of trying to fix those issues, but from a decentralized perspective of allowing this transparency to occur, to having more visible censorship that isn't really censored, but to give it more experimentation where it's needed to be allowed to grow. And I think in particular this is why it's been a really good time for artists and content creators, whichever you fall into, because in the future there will be 80% of the population becoming self-employed. And really, when you think about it, it kind of all summarises everything as like a social banking initiative somehow, of being more connected and more involved in community than we have ever been before. And this will be a significant change in the future of how we govern. Through transparency. And this, I think, is what CAW underpins, essentially, is that transparency. Because at the moment, centralised community platforms like YouTube, like Instagram, even if, instead of keeping back 100 billion, even if they put in 1 or 2 billion into Instagram, they could, give a little part-time salary to the content creators for them creating the work to put value back to them, instead of them working up just to build up their own data and getting nothing back in return. What is happening is crypto is slowly going to fill that void. And so I think we are at the very beginning of that happening. And the more CAW becomes developed, the more we will see these topics and these subjects take on a wider conversation on these platforms, because they seem to work kind of intertwined together through long video or short video or photography or stills or whatever media it is. But really the control always becomes, it should always come from the creator of that content. And this is something that I've really kind of picked up on following from CAW since day 3, are these topics that have become very, very clear and that pretty much lag as far as the way things go at the moment. And I think in terms of NFT usage, we will see it becoming like a special limited collection of digital items. As part of the authentication of the community on a decentralized platform like Twitter or CAW is aiming to achieve, and it is proving to be very possible for that to achieve and happen. And so we will see all these things kind of fold into one over the next 1 or 2 years, and by 5 years after the next halving of Bitcoin, it will be very, very different to what things are now. And I can only look forward to that time, and I think it's going to be a very interesting one at that. So hopefully I've done a better job of this, and please do the things that will help support the growth of this content to get more the message out there to those that want to hear it and that are interested in the future of crypto or the present, and look forward to discussing it more. Thanks all. See you again.